Princess Alexandra goes aboard an Andover of the Queen's Flight at London Airport to carry out an engagement in the north of England. She's flying in one of the most exclusive executive aeroplanes in the world. Lord Robens, as chairman of the National Coal Board, flies off to attend a Scottish conference, travelling in the board's own Dove aircraft from Luton Airport. Many people think that executive aircraft are used only by the royal family or very special VIPs, but today, all kinds of people use them to go about their business. Jockeys, for instance, hire air taxis to fly them to racecourses when time is short. Scobie Breesley and Ron Hutchinson often do so, particularly when they're riding at 2 meetings the same afternoon. Here, they're off to Newmarket. They can land right on the course, and the plane will wait until they've finished racing to take them home again. Top executives fly to meetings in various parts of the country and get business done during the flight too. The Hawker Siddeley 125 is Britain's first jet aircraft to be specially designed for business use. With a range of 1,500 miles and a speed of around 500 miles an hour, it costs about £225,000. Sometimes, even airliners are bought for business use. Here, in the assembly shop, the £1 million BAC 111 takes shape. It normally holds about 70 passengers, but as a business plane, it can be fitted out with a conference room. Today, there are more than 600 business, taxi and private aircraft operating in Britain. Just off to Copenhagen to go on show during the British Week is the £35,000 Beagle 206, produced by a firm which has sold 373 business planes in 4 years. Miss Margot McKellar, who farms in Essex, is one of the people who use private planes for business and pleasure. She's a member of the Tiger Club at Red Hill, Surrey. She flies a 2-seater aircraft, small enough to take off from a field on her farm. Aircraft executive, Mr. Peter Brooks, regularly uses his Terrier, the 2,200-pound Mini of the private aircraft world, to get about on his job. And at weekends, he's always welcome at the Booker Gliding Club, where he uses his little plane as a tug to launch his friends' gliders. Only in the past 10 years has the business plane become big business. The United States now has 94,000 private and business aircraft. In Britain, about 80 firms own them, mostly conventional planes, but a few have helicopters. By remote control, Mr. Sebastian Ferranti brings out his own tiny helicopter from the garage at his Cheshire home. Flying at 80 miles an hour, it does 10 miles to the gallon and costs £11,000. When its owner sets off from his home in Knutsford to fly to his factory at Wythenshawe, 10 miles away, he'll arrive in only a few minutes longer than it takes him to take off and land. And when he presses the buttons again, this is what happens. It's uneconomic for most business companies to operate their own aircraft unless they need to use them for 500 flying hours or more a year. Those who don't often use the taxi services, which are springing up all over the country. If you've a pilot's license, you can even self-drive hire an aircraft. In London, you can arrange for a taxi helicopter to be waiting for you at the Battersea heliport by the River Thames. and intensive course, anybody can learn to fly a helicopter in 3 weeks. But Canadian model girl Connie Fenton, who works in Paris, flew over to England every other weekend for 5 months to take flying lessons at Oxford Airport. She had to have a minimum of 30 flying hours before she could qualify for a license. And when she got it, she became Britain's second woman helicopter pilot. Once qualified, she can hire a helicopter to fly herself. But most businessmen want to hire the pilot with the aircraft. Today, it's almost as simple as hailing a taxi in the street, and may not cost more than 3 or 4 times as much. Here, on a Buckinghamshire airfield, a clerk in the control room takes a booking, first making sure there's a plane and pilot available. The control manager puts the details on the progress board. Then he briefs the pilot and later clears the plane for landings at other airports. He also gets a weather report and permission, when necessary, to fly in air lanes reserved for commercial airlines. The pilot plans his route for the journey and an hour before takeoff, checks that the plane is in good order and puts coffee and biscuits aboard. He's there to welcome his passengers when they arrive and to escort them to the aircraft. Even if the weather looks dullish from the ground, the plane will soon climb above the clouds into sunshine. The aircraft, one of a fleet of 6 of varying sizes which this company operates, is soundproofed so that passengers can get on with their work. It's almost like being in the office. The boss starts to dictate to his secretary. Later on, there's a break for 11s, just like being in the office. When you're looking at life, planes and helicopters can make excellent platforms to film what is going on from almost every angle. In these days, when time has become a very valuable commodity indeed, more and more business people are using aircraft for all sorts of jobs. They can fly to work, and they can work as they fly.